Getting all around my room, my world's so bright, it's hard to breathe, but that's alright. Hush.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video here on the World of Juice channel, and welcome back to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers franchise here on Madden 25. We enter the year one off season in today's video, and not only is there going to be some things happening for our Tampa Bay Bucks, but also for teams around the league. We're going to be taking over their control and trading away some players on teams that might be going in a different direction. Maybe they didn't have a good year this year and they want to trade some of their valuable pieces and maybe expiring contracts for draft picks and younger players and stuff like that. Maybe you want to trade to a team that is buying for a championship like us. We could be considered a buying team because we just played in the Super Bowl in year number one. Now, unfortunately, we did lose that Super Bowl to the Baltimore Ravens, but we played in it. We were the final two teams, one of the final two teams in the NFL this year. And that's a rare thing for a rebuilding team in year number one to be already in the Super Bowl. And that might change the way that we look at this thing. It might change our perspective on how we want to rebuild the Tampa Bay Bucks. Because playing in a Super Bowl in the first year, it might give us a bigger head than we could have had before. Because now I'm thinking, I mean, if we played in the Super Bowl this year, why not try to go for it all of this offseason and then play in another Super Bowl in year number two? I mean, why wouldn't we be able to do that? We got there in year number one. Why can't we get there in year number two? These are the types of things you got to think about. So that is one of the big questions we're going to have to answer today in the offseason episode. But I hope you guys are excited. If you are, leave a like, subscribe to the channel, join the Juice Club, and let's get the offseason started. Picking up where we left off, it is the recap time, and we took a look at all that stuff in the last episode. I'll show you again really quickly. This is what happened. Keon Coleman and Jared Verse are the rookies of the year. You can't see that because of my camera, but Nate Wiggins got the MVP of the Super Bowl because he had a pick six in that game that I threw, unfortunately. And we lose by a singular point to the Baltimore Ravens. It was a depressing day. Let's just say that. It was a depressing result. We really should have won that game. We really should have won that game. So this is what our team looks like as we head into the year one offseason. We still have Baker Mayfield, and to be fair, Baker Mayfield had a very, very good season for us. He was really consistent, really, really good. We will get Rachaad White back at some point. He is still out for 19 more weeks, so he's going to miss the start of year number two as well, but he will be back in some point in year number two. We have Mike Evans, who's not going anywhere. Chris Godwin, in theory, could be going somewhere. Maybe he's part of a trade that gets us somebody else. I don't know, because I do like Jalen McMillan. I think he's going to be a stud. I want to keep him around. We traded for Alec Pierce, and I like Alec Pierce. The offensive line needs a little bit of help. We do lose... who was our left guard? It was an old guy. I forget who it was, but he retires apparently. So we need a left guard. Graham Barton and Cody Mouch are going to be good. Obviously, Tristan Wirfs is going to be here forever. So the right tackle, left guard positions are going to need a little bit of an upgrade. Tight end is K-Dot, and I'm fine with that, I guess, unless there is an opening. Maybe, I don't know. But I feel like we need somebody on this defensive line that gives us a threat. And I think the person that does that is Max Crosby. Max Crosby's on a Raiders team that did not do very well this year. If we go to the league standings, if I can find it, here we go. Let's. Can I click on the standings? Yeah, I can view standings here. If we go to the standings, the Raiders did not do very well this year. They finished 8-9, missed the playoffs again. Max Crosby, I mean, he's probably not really wanting to be there anymore. I mean, there was rumors that he might have gotten traded in real life this past trade deadline. They obviously didn't end up doing it, but he's 28 years old. He's a 99 overall. What does this contract look like again? The Max Crosby contract. He has 2 years left, 2025 and 2026. He does get cheaper in 2026. So he is, and he's very interested. I'm assuming this is the motivations of coming to our team, right? Because the overall interest is very high. I don't think that's the motivation to stay with the Raiders because they wouldn't be Super Bowl champions. Or maybe it is there. Maybe it is theirs because the Super Bowl chase is bad because they went 8-9. Ours would probably be higher, right? Because we were pretty good. Let me go back to the Bucks and do some comparison. So Tristan Wirfs. Let me compare Tristan Wirfs here. So if we go to contracts, so the overall interest, team has a franchise historic coaching record, close to home. Okay, so maybe he's a bad comparison. What about Vita Vea? I just want to see the difference in his interest between Max Crosby and somebody else's. So yeah, okay. So the motivations are interest in their own team. So Vita Vea is very interested in staying with Tampa because of the no income tax, the higher offer or the highest offer, whatever, in a warm weather state. That makes sense. So Max Crosby is interested in staying with the Raiders, but the Raiders might not be interested in staying with him because they might want to get a little bit younger and they might want to get a couple extra contracts or a couple extra draft picks. I mean, so, and his motivation, we could be a Super Bowl champion. It's a possibility. Obviously, the Raiders did trade Devontae Adams in real life to the Jets. I don't know if I'll do that in this. I might trade Devontae Adams for them. I don't know if I'll trade him to the Jets because the Jets didn't really get, or the Raiders didn't get much back in return for him, did they? They didn't get much. I could trade him here, I guess. It doesn't really matter. Although, is Rodgers retired? Oh, Rodgers is retired, so I guess it doesn't even make any sense to trade him to the Jets because he only went there because Rodgers is there. But Rodgers is retired now, so it doesn't make any sense for him to go to the Jets. So I guess he'd have to go somewhere with another veteran quarterback that he in theory would have a chance to win with. I don't know who that would be. There's a couple of different players that we could move on to other teams, but we've got to focus on ourselves first. We can't focus about the other people. So let's start the off season here. We do have a press conference though, probably for making it to the Super Bowl. So here we go. What's the press conference going to talk about here? Hey, everybody. What a way to open. What's your focus this offseason? Make a splash and upgrade the roster. Make sure we win the draft. I don't know what that would mean. Don't have any normal development player. Oops. I didn't click that. It just kind of auto did it. What does that mean? I guess I'm going to find out now. Draft a difference maker in the first 3 rounds. Draft a sleeper in the 5 to 7 rounds. The timer ran out on me. I guess I'm gonna have to draft a sleeper in the 5th to 7th round. That's not the one I want to do. I was gonna do the make a splash trade because we could make a splash trade this year, but the timer ran out on me. I wasn't expecting that. So now I'm gonna be on the hook to draft some sort of good player late in the 5th and 7th to 7th rounds. That's not ideal. Okay, let's get to the next chapter. The re-sign period. We did re-sign Chris Godwin during the season. Trayvon Walker, we bring back with the option. We'll accept his 5th-year option. Jonah Lalu, he's not going to come back. We're not going to spend the money on him. Devin Culp, we only signed him, brought him up from the practice squad because we needed a tight end. Tyquan Thornton's probably going to leave. Irv Smith's probably going to leave. All these guys are just kind of like whatever guys that are going to cost way too much money in total to bring back. So I think it's just going to be Trayvon Walker that we re-sign. Or I guess accept his option. Didn't really re-sign him. And we will move to actual free agency. Now, we don't have a lot of money in free agency, but we can make some things happen here. Nick Chubb is available. Now, it's not smart to go after Nick Chubb because we don't have the money to, and we were waiting for Rachaad White. Nick Chubb was probably one of the guys that I was going to trade away anyway, so it's good that he's going to sign a new contract somewhere. Amari Cooper's available, Khalil Mack's available, Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah is available. That's a real intriguing one. He's only 25. Keenan Allen, Jamal Adams, Harrison Butker. Well, we need a left guard. Isaiah Wynn, Brady Christensen, Kendrick Green, Dylan Reduns. There's not really a left guard here that's amazing, is it? I don't really want to spend it on Isaiah Wynn. I think I might go Kendrick Green just because he's younger. Maybe a 2-year deal, $3 million a piece. It's kind of expensive even for him, but it is what it is. We need a left guard, absolutely, even if we don't draft one. Center, right guard, right tackle. I have $5 million, and I might just keep it. I don't think there's going to be anybody here that is going to make me want to sign. I do like Willie Gay, and I like JOK. I just don't have the money to sign him anymore. Even with the $11 million, I probably didn't have the money to sign him. There's probably going to be teams that are going crazy. Jeremy Chin's interesting. If he wanted to be here, I would certainly take a look at Jeremy Chin. I think we're just going to go with our one guy, Kendrick Green. And we're going to see what happens. He has signed with us, so at least we have a capable left guard now. So, Nick Chubb signed with the Patriots. Okay. That's kind of crazy. Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah signs with the Eagles. Great. They just keep getting better. Patriots also signed Keenan Allen, so the Patriots might be going all in for Drake May. Jamal Adams goes back to the Jets. Yikes. Ryan Kelly goes to the Cardinals. Spencer Brown to the Commanders. Michael Carter II to the Vikings. Jeremy Chin with the Giants. Mike Hilton also to the Jets. Drew Dalman to the Bears. Willie Gay to the Cardinals. Juju to the Lions. Jawan Johnson, Chargers. Isaiah Simmons, also Chargers. The Patriots are getting out of control. They signed Jedrick Wills. Okay, New England, maybe you're all in. Maybe that means... Why does he have such a big head? Tony Adams. Maybe that means the Patriots are going to be players in the trade market. Because now, I mean, they seems like they want to be all in on some free agency. So I'm guessing they probably want to go all in. It would make sense. So if we keep simulating past free agency, we can take an overall look after free agency is over. We're only going to make the one move, I think. I mean, we kind of only can because we don't have very much money in the first place. So let's adjust our lineup to get the left guard in there, Kendrick Green. We'll generate that, and he is now the starter. Okay, so he's the same overall as Cody Mauch, but he just doesn't have a dev trait. I'm okay with that. Still looks pretty good. And then, so let's view the recap here. Who signed where? So we saw Chubb sign with the Patriots. Amari Cooper's a Bear. Khalil Mack is a Bronco. Okay. Harrison Butker remains unsigned. I guess I could just go to the sign, guys. Kevin Zeitler's a Packer. Garrett Bowles goes to the Commanders. DeAndre signs a 2-year deal with the Vikings. Bobby Wagner's back in Washington. Micah Hyde's a Lion. Okay, so there's some interesting names. And Chuba Hubbard signed with the Raiders. Xavier Howard with the Raiders. Rondell Moore with the Colts. Von Bell goes to the Vikings. Cam Akers goes to the Colts. There's some interesting teams spending some money. Patriots, probably the most notable one. And then the private workouts. How are we going to find a gem in the 5th to 7th round? That's going to be crazy. I mean, we might be able to. I don't know. We're not going to go after a quarterback, considering there's only 3 quarterbacks that are draftable. Although I didn't even look. Maybe Clyde Ingram is worth it. Clyde Ingram has good accuracies. He's 6'3", but he's not fast. And if I'm going to be usering a guy, I need him to have a little bit of speed. He does have pretty good stats, though. Maybe I use it on him just to kind of find out how good he actually is. I could be kind of curious. Running backs have a good chance of being sneaky good late in the draft. Probably not, though. Wide receiver probably has the best chance. We got 2 guys up to 70%. There's a couple guys down here that are 70%. Who do I want to use these 3 things on? Charles Cheeks, that's a crazy name. We got a couple of tight ends up to 80%. I don't know. Dean Walker gets round 1 to 2. Okay. I don't know which direction I want to go in, really. There's a lot of defensive ends that could be good. A lot of right ends. Tackles are good. This guy is top 5, Derek Morgan. He could be the Vita Vea replacement, I guess. Derek Morgan, 6'6". He looks fairly good. Yeah, he does. He looks really good. That could be our first round pick. Hopefully he's around in the end of the first round. I guess we could trade up slightly, but he could be a solid pickup. What about corner? There's a lot of corners. There's a top 5 corner, Lance Fisher. Okay, good to know. There's also a Chauncey Milton, round 2 to 3, pretty late in the draft. There's a 3 to 4. Okay, that might be our value pick, Mitch Levin. He's around 3 to 4 true talent, and he's day 3. So that could be our value pick, I guess. Hopefully he's like a good enough overall. I don't even know where I want to go with these 3 workouts. I don't know what we need to do. I'm kind of curious about receiver. Are there any like unbelievably fast receivers? No, there's no elite speed receivers in this draft. At least not that we know of. The fastest guy is a round 1 to 2, 5'9" deep threat. 4.3. I mean, 4.36 speed is very fast. Maybe I use one on him. His name was Thomas, right? Brandon Thomas, but he's round 1 to 2. There's also this guy. He's a deep threat. He's undrafted. Connor James. 5'10". He ran 4.4, which is still very fast. He's the second fastest guy in the class, apparently. I might want to go for him. Maybe we use him as one of our things? Or maybe he's not one of the fastest. Wait, where's he at? I could have sworn he was one of the fastest guys. Oh, there he is. Okay, I didn't sort the right one. So we already got him at 70%. I'm gonna use him as one of our things. He could be pretty good. Ezekiel Kincaid. He ran a 4.45. And then the other one was Tyler Gardner, I think. Let's take a look at him. How fast? He's 6'5", and he ran. Oh man, Tyler Gardner, A carrying, A catching. His route running's not amazing, but he's 6'5" and he's got 4.4 speed. That's really intriguing. But he's also a round 1 guy. The only guy that's available for us is that undrafted guy, and it's this Connor James dude. I'll keep an eye out on these other ones, but I don't know if they're going to be guys that we look at. So Connor James is going to be one. Do I want to scout a guard? I mean, I probably should. It's the smarter thing to do, but I don't know if that's the direction we're going to even draft in. We should probably just go for defense or something. Maybe those corners we scout. I'm very intrigued by this top 5 D tackle, though. Maybe there's going to be an edge rusher that's going to be amazing. What kind of speed edge rushers we got out here? We got a couple of great speed. Marco Wheeler, 6 foot. He's got elite acceleration, elite change of direction, great speed. A pursuit, A play rec, A stamina, B awareness, A block shed. Marco Wheeler looks pretty good. I might consider him as one of my draft picks. Let's throw him in there as a whatchamacallit. And then middle linebacker, right outside linebacker, corner. We know a lot about some of these corners, like this Lance Fisher dude's top 5. Chauncey Milton's 2 to 3. What kind of speed do we have at corner? There's got to be some elite speed guys. There's one, and it's Lance Fisher. And then you got C.J. Patrick. There's this dude, Derek Battle, who's undrafted, potentially. Derek Battle, 6 foot. He's got 4.4 speed. If his hit power was any better, I would consider making him a safety. But he's not really a safety. This is tricky. This is tricky to try to figure out where I want to go. Very, very tricky. Any elite speed? So there's no elite speed safeties. There's one elite strength safety, DJ McMillan. No elite speed safeties. Mike Cox is a day 3 guy, but he doesn't look that amazing. I think he might just be fast. I think is the only thing that he's got going for him. He's not even that fast. Oh, who do I use this? Who do I use this final piece on? Maybe that quarterback. Where's that quarterback at? Clyde Ankrum. Maybe we use it on him. You know what? That's what I'll do. I'll use it on that quarterback. Oops, I don't want to edit the roster. Never mind. Oh, it kicked me out. Okay. I didn't mean to hit that. So we'll use it on Ankrum. Who was the other one? It was, crap, I forgot. It was an outside linebacker, wasn't it? Was it Marco Wheeler? I think it was Marco Wheeler. And then it was was it a corner? Or was it I forget who it was. No. Was it a corner I was using it on? Oh, who was the other guy? It was a left outside linebacker, the quarterback. Was it a defensive end? Why did I have to hit the wrong button? I don't remember who it was. Oh, no. Maybe if I see the name, I'll remember. No, who are you? Do. Who was it? It wasn't a corner, was it? Was it a safety? I don't think it was a safety. Was it? Oh, it was the wide receiver. It was the undrafted. That's right. Okay, I remember. It was the undrafted. Yeah, Connor James is who it was. Okay, hit the right button this time. So we're doing Connor James, the wide receiver, the outside linebacker, Marco Wheeler, and then the quarterback, Ankrum. Those are going to be my 3 focus guys. And we are going to get to the draft. A tough decision is ready to be made. So the mock draft, Jared McDermott's going to go number 1 overall. A lot of defensive ends are going to go. Derek Morgan's going to go 6 to the Bears. Okay. That was not what I was hoping for. Ankrum is going to go 14 to the Saints. And how good actually is he? He's got elite strength, elite throw power. He's a fine quarterback. He's not somebody that I would probably consider usering, especially when we play all the games. Lance Fisher, we can't let Lance Fisher go to the Chiefs, right? That feels wrong. We have pick 31. They want us to take a D tackle. I mean, there's a world where we trade up with the Chiefs. We trade up. We use our method. Have I bought everything? I've bought everything over here. I can buy the final hometown discount one, I guess. So there is a world where we trade up with everybody above us from 31 to 21 to get the Chiefs pick and take that corner. I feel like getting that corner is probably the move. I mean, we could trade a bunch of stuff to get up to the Bears pick, but that feels like it's not going to be the right idea. So if we trade for a corner, he would go alongside Jamel Dean, Bryce Hall, and Christian Izien, because J.C. Jackson's kind of starting to fall down a little bit here. I think getting the corner is probably the right idea. Then we have 4 good corners that I trust. Izzy made some big plays in the postseason. He also made some big plays during the season, the regular season as well. Then we have 4 good corners that I trust. So that's probably the move. And I think it might be time to toss some other teams some trades. So let's take a look at the standings here. So some of the worst teams in the league. They were the Patriots, who just went all in the free agency. They spent a lot of money in free agency. The Titans were bad. The Chargers were bad. Falcons were bad. Bears were bad. Giants were bad. Browns were bad. But the Browns already lost Nick Chubb. Panthers were bad. And then up to like the Raiders and stuff. So teams that could consider selling are all of these teams up here. I don't know if any of these teams would really have anybody worth selling. I mean, we talked about maybe Myles Garrett getting traded from the Browns. That's a possibility. I just don't know who has the ability to take on Myles Garrett. I guess we could take a look. So, who out there needs a defensive end? The Bills need a defensive end. That's their number one need. They have no cap room, though. That's the big problem. And Myles Garrett's very expensive, right? What's his cap hit? 19.7. Yeah, so in order to trade for Myles Garrett, you got to have a decent amount of cap room. The Bears were bad, so they're not going to want a defensive end. Who else needs a defensive end? The Dolphins need one. They have no cap room, so they can't trade for Garrett. Let's see. The Jaguars need one. They weren't amazing. Oh, they were actually pretty good. The Jaguars were pretty good. They have pick 23 this year. So they do need a defensive end. They have the cap room to take it on. That could be an interesting trade. Myles Garrett to the Jaguars? I could see that. Who's their starting right end right now? Their starting right end is Eric Armstead, who's older. And then they've got the young rookie, or the youngster Mason Smith. So you pair Myles Garrett alongside Mason Smith. That could be a formidable team. Jacksonville. I could see that happening. Let's go through and see if there's anybody else. Let's see. Patriots need one, but they're not going to be in the market for Myles Garrett, I wouldn't think. Although they do have the cap room to take him on. That would be interesting. They could trade Judon. Or maybe Jelani Tavai. I don't know. Patriots could be interesting. Let's see if there's anybody else. The Steelers need Myles Garrett, or they need a defensive end, but I don't see them trading for him, especially because it's in division. The Vikings don't have the cap room. I think the Jaguars might be the best landing spot for him. That's an interesting trade. I think the Jaguars could be an interesting spot for Myles Garrett. So let's go take control of the Cleveland Browns and make the move from trading Myles Garrett. So we'll go to user teams and we will find the Cleveland Browns. Yes, I've taken over every single team, but everything is on automatic, so it doesn't matter. I'm not in control of anybody else except for to do this. So let's see. Taking over the Cleveland Browns, they would trade Myles Garrett. The Jaguars would then in turn get back, or the Browns would in turn get back probably some good assets. They'd probably need the first overall, or the 23rd overall pick this year. They would certainly need their pick next year. Absolutely. At least 2 first-round picks. Maybe even the second pick this year, the second round pick this year. And then they'd probably need at least a player or two, I would think. They need a left tackle. Cam Robinson, Javon Foster probably aren't going to do it. They need a left outside linebacker. No. Right outside linebacker. They're not going to get Josh Hines-Allen, I don't think. They need a quarterback and they need a middle linebacker. Foyesade and Devin Lloyd. Devin Lloyd would not be bad, I don't think. I could see Devin Lloyd being a piece of the package. And then maybe you toss in somebody with some good value here. Maybe like Jerry Jones, or who's got some decent value? Maybe they grab a Tank Bigsby because they don't have Nick Chubb anymore. Who's their running back now? They've got Jerome Ford, Pierre Strong as their running back. How much of an overall is Bigsby? He's a 74. Ford's a 78, I think, right? Yeah, 78. So Bigsby doesn't start for them, unfortunately. Wide receivers, they're not going to trade Brian Thomas. Parker Washington might be like a guy you throw in just kind of like he's here. Maybe he adds a little bit of value, or maybe there's a young guard they want or something. I guess we could send them back Eric Armstead to kind of replace the position, because really the value is they're getting the 2 first round picks and Devin Lloyd is really like the value of the Myles Garrett trade. But maybe we send Eric Armstead back to kind of make the money match up a little bit better. I would be okay with this trade. I think it's fair. Browns are getting a ton of value, and the Jags are getting Myles Garrett to help their possible playoff push. So I think that's a fine trade. We're going to send Myles Garrett to the Jacksonville Jaguars. Boom! The first big trade of the series has happened for another team. Myles Garrett ends up in Jacksonville now. Kind of crazy. Okay, so who's the next team that is going to get a move? I think I want to do the Raider trade. I want to do the Max Crosby Raider trade. But I feel like the Max Crosby Raider trade is going to be with us. So let's switch back to Tampa. I want to switch back to Tampa because I think that I want Max Crosby. So if the Raiders are going to give me Max Crosby, that is going to be... Ooh, I might not have the cap room to do this. I guess we'll find out. I thought I'd have a little bit more cap room to take him on. I guess I didn't realize how big of a cap hit he had. So they need a left outside linebacker. I'm not willing to give Trayvon Walker up, but I would be willing to give up Yaya Diaby. So Yaya tosses in there. They need a right guard. I don't really have one that I could give up. They need a quarterback. I don't have a quarterback that I can give up. They need a right tackle. I don't have a right tackle I could give up. And they need a right outside linebacker. I have Braswell and Tryon Shoyinka. I guess I could give them Braswell. He doesn't really take that much of a cap hit, though. So we could send them 2 outside linebackers. That would fill some of their holes there. And then obviously it would have to probably be draft picks. I'd probably have to give up at least 2 first-round picks. Same kind of situation as Myles Crosby and the Jags. Or Myles Garrett and the Jags. So I'd probably have to give up my first-round pick this year, which would mean we wouldn't be able to draft that corner. And then I'd have to give up my next year first-round pick, too. I don't even know if this could go through because we don't have the cap room. We're negative cap. I guess I didn't realize how big of a cap hit. Yeah, he's got $28.2 million, so he might not be able to come over here. The Max Crosby deal might be dead for us, but it might not be dead for somebody else. I'll hold off on the Max Crosby deal. I do want to trade Davante Adams, though. So let's go to the Raiders. Let's go to the Raiders, and we'll make the trade away from Davante Adams. But Davante Adams is not going to bring in the type of value that you would think he would probably bring in. He's a little bit older at this point. So Davante is going to get traded. He has a huge cap hit, which is unbelievable. He might not be able to get traded. He can only go to the Eagles or the Lions. Okay, there's a couple teams he can go to. So let's take a look at the teams he can go to and see if they need him. So first up is the Eagles. We already know what the Eagles have in A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. They don't need Davante Adams, so he's not going to go to Philadelphia. The Detroit Lions, they have Amon-Ra St. Brown and Jameson Williams. So he could go to Detroit, because Detroit's a good contender. How'd they finish this year? They have pick 13. I could see them going all in on a Davante Adams type. They'd have to give back Jameson Williams, probably. Would they give back Jameson Williams? The Raiders probably would want somebody like Jameson Williams. I don't know if the Lions would accept it. Let's see. What would the Lions want back in return? They wouldn't want either of you. They were not going to get Jack Campbell. They could probably get a corner. Maybe like Ennis Rakestraw. They could probably... I could see that him being part of the trade. But other than that, I don't think there's anybody that the Lions could give up that the Raiders would want. They wouldn't want David Montgomery, I wouldn't think. They need a right guard, but the Lions don't have a right guard that they would want. Christian Mahogany. Ooh, maybe. So maybe we do Christian Mahogany in that corner, Ennis Rakestraw, and then maybe like a second this year and a 4 in 2027. Is that enough value for Davante Adams? I mean, he's old. This could be probably considered hurting the Lions more than it's helping them. Do they need the corner? Is Rakestraw going to play if he gets traded here? He's, what's overall is he? He's a 76. So he would be the third corner on this team above Okudah probably. They just signed Xavier Howard to a 1-year deal. So maybe they don't need him necessarily. They've got a lot of corners, so probably take him out of the deal. So Christian Mahogany, a 2nd and a 4 for Davante Adams. Is that enough value for the Lions now? Or for the Raiders? Are the Raiders getting fleeced by this? I mean, they're freeing up a ton of money in cap room. And they're getting back a 2nd and a 4 in 2027. In 2025, they're getting back a 2. Maybe I give them maybe 2 4s. Maybe they get a 4 in 2027 and 2026. Maybe that helps the value for the Raiders a little bit. I think that's good. We send Davante Adams to the Lions. All right, Davante Adams headed to Detroit. No longer a Vegas Raider. Is there any other Raiders that need to get traded while I'm here? We are going to hold off on the Crosby trade for now. Christian Wilkins isn't going anywhere just yet. No, I think the Raiders are good. I think we can move on to another team. Is there any quarterbacks that would get traded? Not Caleb Williams, not Joe Burrow, not Josh Allen, not Bo Nix. Deshaun, I could see this, but just nobody's got the cap room to take on Deshaun's cap or his salary. So Deshaun probably has to stay, unfortunately. But he's probably the only quarterback that would be on the market. And would anybody even want him? And what kind of value would he even get in return? I don't even know. I think it might be time for the Falcons to get rid of Kirk Cousins, to just go all in on Michael Penix. So maybe we trade Kirk Cousins. And the Giants need another quarterback. Would they want Deshaun Watson is the question. Mac Jones is the starting quarterback in New York now. Okay, there's a couple of teams that absolutely are desperate for a quarterback. And Deshaun Watson, the Raiders need a quarterback too. Does Deshaun Watson fit anywhere else other than Cleveland? That $64 million is just so brutal. I don't think I can move that. I don't think I can move that. Any other quarterbacks that could get traded? I mean, Dak, his contract is very expensive, but it's not $64K. That's for sure, or $64 million. And then Kirk Cousins is making $40 million. I could see a Daniel Jones trade where he gets traded to the Jets, where they just swap locker rooms, him for Mac Jones, where yes, the Jets are eating a ton of money and the Giants are also eating a ton of money, but each organization just washes their hands of the situation that they're in. Or maybe it's the Derek Carr situation. Maybe Derek Carr gets traded to the Giants for Daniel Jones. They're both making a ton of money. He's got 2 years left. He's got 2 years left. Maybe they just swap quarterbacks. Nah, that wouldn't make any sense, though. It's got to be for a team that, one, can afford Daniel Jones, and then two, it would make sense for the team that's getting Daniel Jones to actually get him. Like, why would anybody want Daniel Jones? Because that contract is just so disgusting. Why would anybody want Daniel Jones? So I'm just trying to think of teams, and maybe there isn't a team. maybe there isn't a team that would make sense to take Daniel Jones. I definitely think Kirk Cousins has to leave. Kirk Cousins has to get traded somewhere, but I don't know where it makes sense for him to go because we're trying to get Michael Penix to start. But who takes on Kirk Cousins' contract for 3 seasons? Who's got that type of cash? The Patriots have that type of cash, but that would kind of hinder them. That would be stupid. The Bears have that type of cash. Maybe he goes in and is a veteran mentor for Caleb Williams as a backup. Who else could take on that money? The Cardinals could, in theory, take on that money. The Lions could take on the money, but they don't want him. The Rams are the only team that probably makes financial sense to take him on, but they've already got their old quarterback. They don't need another quarterback. Maybe because I just saw Desmond Ridder. Maybe Desmond Ridder gets traded to the Rams. That could be interesting. I could see that happening as a little backup option. Who takes on this Kirk Cousins contract? Let's get to the Falcons, because the Falcons are going to be the next team that I trade with. So let's get to the Falcons. The Atlanta Falcons become the owner. All right. So who can take on the Kirk Cousins contract? And who makes sense to take Kirk Cousins on? All right. So there we go. So the Bears can take the contract on. A lot of teams can. It's just a matter of what makes the most sense. So Kirk Cousins, he would probably be a starter most places that I would trade him to. But where does it make the most sense to send him? Does it make sense for the Titans to give up on Will Levis? Probably not, right? Probably doesn't make sense for them to give up on Will Levis. The only thing I'm thinking is sending him to Chicago to get veteran leadership for Caleb. That's kind of the path that I'm thinking it makes the most sense to send him. We're going to do the Desmond Ridder to the Rams trade. Where else does it make sense for him to go? It doesn't make sense for him to go to Philadelphia. This would just be pretty stupid, I would think, to send Kirk to the Giants. He wouldn't start over Bryce Young. That just doesn't make any sense. I kind of like... I mean, he could go to the Raiders. He could go to the Raiders. Raiders don't have... But the Raiders don't... The Raiders need to get younger. They wouldn't want to take on Kirk Cousins. They need to get younger. I kind of like the idea of him going to be a backup in Chicago. So let's send him to Chicago for something. We can't send him for too much expensive stuff because they don't have cap room as it is. The Falcons, at least. So we got to send him for something not super expensive. And that's going to be maybe Terrell Smith at corner. Jonathan Owens is too old. Bears don't really have anybody that would make sense. Maybe like a 3rd round pick next year, and then we tie somebody in with that. Maybe we give him like Tyler Scott, 23 years old. Give Michael Penix another weapon. I could see that making sense. Now we just need the Falcons to send over somebody else that's a little bit expensive. Who makes this money work? I guess Charlie Warner makes the money work. Yeah, he does. Okay, so Bears, that's just a salary cap filler. That guy doesn't make any sense, or doesn't make any interest in the Bears. But basically, the trade is Kirk Cousins going to Chicago to be a backup for Caleb Williams for a 3rd round pick next year and Tyler Scott. I'm okay with that. So there goes. Oh, we can't consider this. It'll put us over the salary cap. Ooh, it might be because of Kirk Cousins' cap hit. might be too much. So maybe the Kirk Cousins trade can happen. Maybe he just has to stay in Chicago or stay in. Yeah, we can't consider the offer. It will put us over the salary cap. So maybe they can't accept Tyler Scott. Maybe they can only accept draft picks. Maybe they can only accept draft picks. How about I give them Zach Pickens? Does that work? They would have accepted it, but the cap is not letting them. So how about 2 third-round picks for Kirk Cousins? Unfortunately, we can't consider the offer. It puts us over the salary cap. I don't think the Kirk Cousins trade can happen. I think the cap hit is just too expensive. So Kirk Cousins is off the table. Unfortunately, he can't get traded, but they do probably need to start Michael Penix now. And we're going to do the Cardinals next because we're going to trade Desmond Ridder to the Rams. And then he's going to be the backup to Matt Stafford. And I think it would probably just be like a 4th-round pick or a 5th-round pick for Desmond Ridder. It doesn't have to be anything too crazy. So Desmond Ridder going to the LA Rams for like a 4th-round pick. Let's just do it. They have 2 of them, so that makes sense. Just do a 4th-round pick for Desmond Ridder. Makes sense. They get a backup quarterback of the future. And the Cardinals get a 4th-round pick. That's totally fine. Okay, so who else possibly needs to get traded? The Titans had a really bad year. I remember that. Maybe the Titans are a team that we can send somebody away. They don't have a lot of cap room, though. Oops. Did I pass the Titans? Oh, they were one of the first teams. Never mind. Okay, so the Titans, they had a very, very bad year. They went 3-14. It might be time to blow it up. Or at least a little bit. Maybe go for some draft capital. What do they have? What do they have? So they've got Jeffrey Simmons. They've got Justin Simmons, Shelby Awuzie, Tony Pollard, Calvin Ridley, J.C. Latham. Okay, so they were really bad this year. And they have some somewhat expensive guys. Jeffrey Simmons probably is gone. Who takes on Jeffrey Simmons? I don't know. Maybe it's the Bears. The Bears currently have Charles Omenihu and Montez Sweat. That would put Montez Sweat and Jeffrey Simmons on the same timeline because they're both 28 years old. So the Bears could make some sense. Who else needs him? The Bills need him, but they'd have to. It would probably be too much money. The Dolphins can't take him on. The Jaguars don't need him anymore. They got Myles Garrett. Patriots. We've been talking about the Patriots possibly. Possibly needing a defensive end. They do need a right end. Keon White. Barmore. Nah. I want Keon White to develop, so, or have the chance to develop. So Patriots are out. The Rams don't need a right end. The Ravens do, but the Ravens can't afford it. Justin Madubuike, James Houston. They do need a right end. I don't think they can afford it, though. They'd have to probably take on... Who would they have to trade back, though? It would probably be like at least 2 first-round picks from the Baltimore Ravens. And they'd probably have to give up maybe Rashad Bateman or Devontae Walker. They don't have a lot of wide receiver depth in the first place, though. They just won the Super Bowl. They just won the Super Bowl. They need outside linebacker more than they need defensive end, probably. Let's see. I kind of like the Bears option again. I don't know why I like the Bears option, but what would they have to give up? They'd probably have to give up pick 6, and I don't know if Jeffrey Simmons is worth pick 6. So Bears, I don't know if they're an option. The Bills, I think the Bills might be the best the best option for them because they have pick 30, so they were a really good team this year. They don't have any defensive ends, any right ends at least. Yeah, I think the Bills are going to be the team that we trade Jonathan Simmons to. So what do the Titans get back? We know they have to get back at least a pick. So they have to get back pick 30, and they probably have to get back pick 20, pick 1 in 2026 as well. They might even need to get back the second-round pick next year, or maybe a second-round pick this year instead of next year. So 2 firsts and a second. That's on the same lines as Myles Garrett, though. Maybe not a second, maybe a third. Or maybe just 2 firsts. 2 firsts is probably enough for Jeffrey Simmons. And then they have to get back a player as well to make the money work. So, who would they send back? Titans need a left outside linebacker. What is the overall of any of your left outside linebackers? 75 overall for Arden Key. So Devin Bush would be the only one, and he's not even really, in theory, starting. Let's see. Kyer Elam. Maybe Kyer Elam could go back to the Titans. He's only 26. They only have 3 corners, really. So maybe Kyer Elam gets traded away. He's only 24. He's on last year of his deal. Maybe Kader Kohu. Yeah, let's do him. So 2 firsts and Kader Kohu. Kader Kohu? I don't know how to say his name. He is part of the package to get Jeffrey Simmons to Buffalo. Boom. Trade accepted. Titans are selling their soul. The Titans are selling everything. The cap hit probably doesn't let me trade anybody else because Jeffrey Simmons' cap hit was pretty substantial. So the Titans have traded away their best piece, but they get back an extra first-round pick this year and an extra first-round pick next year. So they're set up a little bit for the future. Plus, they get an extra corner in Kader Kohu. So they'll be okay. They've got a chance with number 3 overall to draft a quarterback, I guess, if they want to. So who's another team that needs to be... oops, I didn't mean to go into that. Who's another team that needs to be traded? We might just be down to the Max Crosby potential deal. We might just be down to that. Chargers, Falcons. We can't trade Kirk Cousins. We already talked about that. Giants. I don't think we can trade Daniel Jones. There's nobody else that can take on that money. And there's nobody that makes sense for him to get traded to. The Browns. They already lost Nick Chubb. We just traded Myles Garrett. We can't trade Deshaun Watson. Nobody's going to take that contract on, so that doesn't make any sense. The Panthers, I don't know if there's anybody on the Panthers that we could... I guess we could take a look. And then we're back to the Raiders. So let's take a look at the Panthers and then maybe try to do that Max Crosby deal. All right, so let's take a look at the Carolina Panthers. They are young still, so they're probably still looking for some draft picks. They're still looking for some draft picks, but what do they have here that they could sell? Derek Brown, they're probably going to keep on. J.C. Horn's in the last year of his deal. Robert Hunt, Shaq Thompson. They probably need to move on from Shaq Thompson and Taylor Moton and probably Jadeveon Clowney. All 3 of these guys, they probably need to trade. They're all very expensive, and at least these 2 guys are on the last year. So let's trade Shaq Thompson first. So who needs a middle linebacker? Who needs a middle linebacker? The Cowboys need a middle linebacker, but they can't take on the money. The Jaguars need a middle linebacker. They can't take on the money. They have Foyesade, though. I don't know why they need a middle linebacker. The Lions need a middle linebacker. Who's their current middle linebacker? It's Jack Campbell. Want to keep him around. So, let's see. Patriots need a middle linebacker. Maybe this is where we go finally with the Patriots. Who would the Panthers get back in return? They could probably get back Jabril Peppers. They need a D tackle. We have I say we because I'm a Patriots fan. Devon Gasho. That wouldn't make much sense, would it? Corner, Marcus Jones, Marcellus Dials, Jonathan Jones. I could see Jonathan Jones heading back to Carolina in return. And then maybe Patriots give up a 6 this year and a 6 next year to get Shaq Thompson. I could see that happening. Trade offer accepted. Patriots get a middle linebacker, and the Panthers get a couple of 6th-round picks. Help the rebuild a little bit. Taylor Moton. Who needs a right tackle? This is probably going to be like draft pick only. So who needs a right tackle? The Bills need a right tackle. They can't take the money on. Chiefs need a right tackle. They can't take the money on. Cowboys need a right tackle. No. A lot of the teams that need a right tackle can't take the money. Can't take the money of Taylor Moton. Packers need one, but they can't take it on. Raiders need one. Rams need a left tackle. There's no team that needs a right tackle that can take the money of Taylor Moton. I mean, the Cardinals technically do. They have Jonah Williams and Christian Jones, so they really have no plan at right tackle. Maybe maybe Taylor Moton's but they're the number 1 overall pick. That wouldn't make any sense. They wouldn't take that contract on when they're the number 1 overall pick. Cowboys, no. Eagles, they have Jordan Mailata, right? Or maybe not Jordan Mailata. They have Lane Johnson. Niners certainly can't take it on. The Giants can't take it on. The Jets can. Who's their right tackle right now? It's Lyle Collins. Yeah, they don't have a plan at right tackle. They could probably use him. So Taylor Moton, I'd say you'd probably go for a 3rd and a 4. That's probably the respectable value for Taylor Moton. So Panthers get back him, or they get back a couple of draft picks. And then the final one's probably Jadeveon Clowney. So they send Clowney away, and he is a left outside linebacker. The Bears need one. Who's the Bears' left outside linebacker right now? It is nobody. The Bears have no left outside linebacker, so they certainly could use somebody. Just a body. But do they have anybody that they... Let's see. Let's give Tyler Scott back to the Panthers. And then let's give a 3rd and a 5 for Jadeveon Clowney. All right, so the Panthers get back a good amount of assets. Nothing too crazy, but they weren't trading anybody that warranted anything that crazy. They do get back another receiver for Bryce Young to throw to. So they get back Tyler Scott. They've got Deontay Johnson. They probably need to trade Deontay Johnson because he got traded in real life to the Ravens. So I might just do that in real life right now because they did that. So to the Ravens, I don't remember what the Panthers got back. Probably just a draft pick. Let's send a 4 and a 3 for Deontay Johnson. Oh, nope, the Ravens can't take that. So we have to give back $5 million. Who would the Ravens want to give up for $5 million? This is going to be pretty tricky. This might not be able to happen. I don't know if there's anybody here that they could get rid of. Maybe David Ajabo. They're not going to give up Stevens. We could send them back David Ajabo, but that's only $3 million left. I don't know if this is going to work because I don't think that anybody that makes any sort of money would the Ravens would be willing to trade away. This is where we get into the trickiness. Maybe they would be willing to give up Blake Freeland. And then we give them up somebody else. Let's see. They probably wouldn't matter giving up Jamin Sherwood because they have Tavis Robinson. He's really the only other guy that's somewhat expensive. And that still doesn't even get it done. 90K. Okay, so I don't think I can complete this official or the real trade where the Ravens got Deontay Johnson. So maybe we look at another team that needs a receiver. Who else needs a receiver? The Steelers need one. They could get him back. That'd be pretty funny. Titans. Let's see. Who else needs a receiver? Chiefs do. Chiefs can't take him on. Dolphins do. The Colts never replaced Alec Pierce. They signed Rondell Moore. He doesn't really fit in there. Doesn't make any sense. How about... There's not really anybody that needs a receiver that can take on the little bit of money that Deontay Johnson makes. The Browns could, in theory, take it on. And they certainly need a receiver. So we could make this work. So what was I going to do? I was going to do a 3 and a 4 from the Ravens. So let's do a 3 and a 4 and then find somebody that pushes it across. Zach Zinter. They probably... They don't need all these corners. There's a lot of corners they have on their team. They probably don't need Jordan Hicks anymore. So Jordan Hicks could just go in to make the money work. And then Deontay goes to the Cleveland Browns. Okay. So the Panthers are probably done. And I think all that's left is to do the Raider trade with Max Crosby. It's just, I don't think that I have the money to make it work is the problem. Because Max Crosby's making so much money. He's making so much money, I don't think it works. But I really would like Max Crosby on the Buccaneers, that's for sure. He'd be a really fun user for me. But it just doesn't make any sense. There's no trade packages. It's negative $16 million. We'd have to give... I mean, Jamel Dean's making a ton of money. Maybe this is where we send Chris Godwin. That's still $9 million. Jamel Dean makes it $6 million. Maybe we send Jamel Dean to the Raiders to get back Max Crosby. We still have to make up $6 million. I don't know who that $6 million comes from. Maybe Jordan Whitehead. That didn't even free up anything. His cap hit must not be that expensive, so that's just a waste, really. I don't think it works for us. I don't think it works for us to make the Max Crosby trade. So, man, that sucks. I really want Max Crosby on this team, but it just doesn't make any sense financially for us. All right, so I think that's probably going to be all of the trades that we made. We made some big splashes. I mean, Myles Garrett's no longer a Cleveland Brown. We traded a bunch of different people, as you can see by some of these different trade things up here. Patriots get some new people. Panthers are starting their rebuild. So we traded some people. Now the big question is, we need to trade up to get that corner, right? Unfortunately, we're not going to be able to trade up to get the D tackle, which is something I would really like to get. It's just not going to happen. I think we only have to get up to 21, right? So we could do that. So let's trade up to 21 to get the corner. And yes, I have control of all those teams, but even if I didn't, they still would accept these trades 1-to-1 because of the trading tree that I purchased in the player personnel side on the trading thing. Once you purchase all that, you can basically do on normal trading difficulty, you can basically do first round pick for first round pick straight up. You can go up the list. You can trade for every single pick, except for it gets a little bit more difficult with like pick 2 and pick 1 for obvious reasons. But you can basically go all the way up to the top 3 if you choose so. So even though I do have control of all these teams and they're going to accept it no matter what, they still would accept it even if I didn't have control of them because of upgrading the tree. So it doesn't really make much difference that I have control of them. All right, so let's go find pick 23, and then we'll make the trade with pick 21. Where's pick 23? Did I pass it? I must have. Oh, the Browns had 2 picks. Okay. So the Browns get pick 23. Oh, that's from the Jaguars. That's right. So we get pick 23 back. And then we'll trade with the Chiefs for pick 21. And we will be ready to take that corner. All right. Trade with the Kansas City Chiefs. Because we can't let the Chiefs get a top 5 player in the class. That just can't happen. So the Chiefs trade right there. Perfect. All right. Let's go to the draft and then wrap up this video. It's been a little bit longer than I expected to be. But that's just because we were taking our time trying to figure out who needed to get traded where. So here we go. Number 1 overall pick is the Arizona Cardinals, and they take, I didn't see who it was, they take Jared McDermott, number 1 pick, defensive end. Then you got J.D. Donald, headed to New England. He's a defensive end. The Titans take Tyrese. Does that say Tyrese? Tyron Ridley? I think it says Tyron. Oh, no, it's Tyrese. Never mind, I can't read. Tyrese Ridley. So it's 4 straight defensive ends off the board. Kind of insane, if you ask me. And then you've got a wide receiver, Juan Weathers, headed to Atlanta. Hopefully another option for Michael Penix. And then Juan Glass. So a couple of Juan, going back-to-back. The Giants take Brian something. Brian, what was his name? Brian Judge. Let's skip to our user pick here. Oh, never mind. I can't skip to our user pick because I have control of everybody. So let's keep skipping through. And we've got Dean Walker, left tackle. So a couple of tackles going. Derek Morgan headed to the Denver Broncos. Jace McDougal headed to the Raiders. Nigel Woods. So a lot of tackles, a lot of defensive ends going. There goes Clyde Ankrum, the quarterback. He's the first quarterback off the board, and he's going to possibly replace Derek Carr in the future. James Jones headed to the Vikings. Did that D tackle get taken? Was he one of the D tackles that got grabbed? I think he might have been. Yeah. Yeah, he was one of the... Okay, so he's one of those D tackles. I forgot his name for a second. He's one of those D tackles that got grabbed already. That's all right. Carl Donahue, another quarterback, headed to Pittsburgh. Alex Cherry to the Eagles. And Matlock and Emmanuel Matlock. I couldn't see what his name was. Emmanuel Matlock. And now it's our time. We are up. And it's probably going to be the corner Lance Fisher. I mean, it makes the most sense. He's 5'10". He's a little bit short, but he's got 4.3 speed. He is a great man cover corner. He's got decent press. He's got really good zone for a man corner. I'm going to take Lance Fisher. He's a top 5 talent in the class. So why not make the trade for him? Now, you run the risk with top 5 players because there could very well be a bunch of the player with the same overall, so you kind of get gypped out a little bit there. But there we go. Boom. Lance Fisher. He was number 4. Elite top end speed. Good balance to remain in phase of man coverage. That's always good. And he's most effective in zone coverage. With hidden dev, 95 speed, 95 excel. Wow. Okay. We've got ourselves quite the player in Lance Fisher. I'm really excited about that. So let's go to the next round. And then we don't pick again for a while. So we'll just have to keep skipping through until our next pick. Oops, didn't mean to do that. I guess I'll probably just bring you guys back when it's our time so that you don't have to see me just skipping through all these different draft picks. Okay, so it's our time to pick again. Round 2, pick 31. I don't really know where we're going to go with this. The only quarterback left is Dexter Nixon. Wide receivers. The wide receiver that I was looking at should still be here, right? Because he's undrafted. Yeah, here's Connor James, and he is actually his true talent is undrafted, so we'll keep an eye on him, but I'm not going to take him in the second round. Maybe we grab a tight end a little bit later. I don't know if there's going to be any offensive linemen. Defensive line. This is where we run into the struggles. This is where we run into some struggles. Because I don't know where we go. Christian Aldridge. 4.6 speed. Great acceleration. Ooh. A pursuit, A play rec. B zone coverage, B man coverage, B awareness. Christian Aldridge does not look bad at all. That could be the path that we take. Although, there's another corner, Chauncey Milton. He's definitely not as fast. He's certainly not as good as Lance Fisher. I kind of like that outside linebacker. I think he might be the way to go. Christian Aldridge is going to be our second round pick. Hopefully he's got a dev trait. I don't know for sure if he does, but I'm hoping he's going to be good. He looks like a freak athlete. I mean, I'm very excited about him. And so are the boys. The boys in the war room excited about him. He likes having that Tampa Bay hat. He is ranked number 69. Nice. Able to quickly diagnose plays. That's good. Shows good technique on wrap-up tackles. That's always good because my guys never tackle. Will have trouble keeping up with tight ends and running backs. Okay. Interesting note. Does have hidden dev. 85 speed, 89 acceleration. All right. I think that's another really solid pick. I'm okay with that. I'm certainly okay with that. And then we have our third round pick. And I'll see you guys when we're picking somebody. All right. We made it to our pick here in the third round. And I don't know where we go. Same deal as last pick in the second round. So we've got a zone corner, Greg Hayden. But I think we looked at this guy, right? Yeah, he didn't look amazing. No, he didn't look good at all. I remember looking at him. So we still got the wide receiver that we want to take. I don't know how good he's going to be. He's going to probably be pretty bad. This Dexter Nixon dude is still here. He's a 5'11", field general quarterback, not fast. He's just kind of medium at everything, just okay. I don't think that's really worth it. Is there a quarterback left with any sort of speed? You've got George Kerr. He's a scrambling type. He's 5'11". He's got elite jumping for some reason. He doesn't look good. He's just kind of an athlete type of guy. All right, not worth it. Not worth it. What about running backs with speed? No, all the running backs left are not super fast. We already know about the wide receivers. Is there still a tight end available that could be good? Zach Meredith, 6'5". Elite strength is interesting. He's got a couple of Bs. Nathan Caldwell, 6'3". That's a tiny little tight end. But he might be like a type of weapon. Maybe he's an extra receiver. Oops. It took somebody. I guess I didn't pause it. I thought I could have sworn I paused it. I must not have. Who did it take? Who did we take? Probably just somebody to fill out the position, a position of need. All right, they took somebody. Who is that? Am I not going to see who it is? Quincy Barner, right guard. I could have sworn I paused the draft. I guess I didn't. Quincy Barner is the guy. Okay, so I'm going to see you guys at the 6th round pick, and then that's going to be where we take that wide receiver, and then we'll finish up the video from there. Okay, we've made it to the 6th round, and this is where we will take that wide receiver as long as he's still available. I hope he is. He should be. He was projected undrafted, so I would expect him to still be here. He is. Connor James. In theory, he's the fastest guy in the class at 4'4", or at least the fastest guy left. He can't really do anything. 236, we got him at number 191. Can stretch the field deep. Does he have NFL speed is a question mark. And he drops easy catches. Great. He's 93 speed, 93 excel. That's not the worst thing I've ever seen in the world from a 6th round pick. So I guess that's going to be something that we can utilize on the field. Maybe he's a kick return type of guy. I don't know. I'm very curious to see about this guard because I don't know how good he is. They took him. He's a 74 overall. Okay, I guess I'll take that. I guess I got somebody pretty good, a steal. 77 overall for Lance Fisher ends up being really solid. And then Jared McDermott's the best player in the class, but we got one of the other best players in the class, so I'll take that. I know that my camera is glitching out. I apologize. We're wrapping up the video right now, so you don't have to see that any longer because it is kind of a distracting and annoying. Okay, so let's just wrap this up real quick. We'll generate the best team available. before my camera completely just goes crazy. And that'll be where he's going to start at right guard. Okay, that's interesting. We'll have to figure that out. Or maybe he starts at right tackle. That could be interesting. I don't know. Maybe we'll figure something out. But that's going to do it for the video. I got to go before the camera completely just glitches out on me. I apologize. But that's going to do it for the video. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, leave a like, subscribe to the channel, join the Juice Club. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.